Dad raised his glass to toast my brother's new position. To Michael, starting at Goldman Sachs as a junior analyst. Now that's a real career. The whole family clinked glasses around the table at Marcello's, our traditional spot for celebrating achievements. Mom, Dad, my brother Michael, his fiancée Olivia, and my uncle's family. Everyone dressed up, everyone beaming with pride. Everyone except me, apparently. $62,000 a year to start, Uncle Robert said admiringly. Plus benefits and bonus potential. That's the kind of foundation you build a life on. Exactly, Dad agreed, cutting into his steak. Michael understands what real success looks like. Investment banking. Clear advancement track. Michael straightened his new tie. Brooks Brothers, probably bought specifically for this dinner. Thanks everyone. I'm really excited. The training program is supposed to be intense, but Goldman has an incredible reputation. That's how you do it, Mom said warmly. Work hard, prove yourself at a real company, build credibility. Not like. She trailed off, glancing at me. Not like what, Mom? I asked quietly. Well, honey, you know we worry about you. You're 29 years old, still living in that tiny apartment, still doing your website thing. When are you going to pursue something stable? The tiny apartment was a 3,800 square foot loft in Soho that I owned outright. But my parents had never visited, never asked for the address, never shown interest in any concrete details of my life. I'm doing fine, I said. Dad laughed. That particular laugh that meant he thought I was delusional. Fine. Ava, you've been building your website for 7 years. At some point you need to accept reality and get a real job like your brother. What exactly do you think I do? I asked. Something with computers, Uncle Robert said dismissively. Web design. Social media. One of those internet things that isn't real business. I'd founded StreamVault Technologies 7 years ago with 2 Caltech classmates. We'd built a cloud infrastructure platform that helped companies manage and optimize their data storage and processing. Our first client had been a startup in Seattle. Our second had been Amazon Web Services. We now serve 2,100 enterprise clients globally, processing 340 petabytes of data daily. Last quarter, revenue hit $890 million. Tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m., StreamVault Technologies would go public on NASDAQ with an expected opening valuation of $28 billion. My personal stake was 39%. By this time tomorrow, I'd be worth approximately $11 billion. Ava does something with websites, Mom explained to Olivia. She's very dedicated, but it's not really a career. Not like Michael's position at Goldman. I tried to help her, Dad said. Called in favors, got her interviews at real companies. He turned them all down. Said she wanted to build her own thing. He shook his head. Pride before the fall. Michael looked uncomfortable. Dad, I'm sure Ava's work is important to her. Of course it's important to her, Dad interrupted. But importance doesn't pay bills. Michael, you're going to be making real money, building real wealth. That's what matters. I checked my phone again. 16 hours until the opening bell. The pre-IPO investors were already celebrating. Our underwriters had called this afternoon to say demand was unprecedented. Goldman Sachs, ironically, was one of the lead underwriters for our IPO. Still glued to that phone, Olivia observed. What could possibly be so urgent? Just work, I said. Work, Uncle Robert repeated, his tone making it clear he didn't consider what I did to be actual work. Ava, honey, at your age you should be thinking about stability. Marriage. Family. Not playing around with computers. I'm not playing around. Then what do you call it? Dad challenged. 7 years, and what do you have to show for it? No husband, no house, no career advancement. Meanwhile, Michael's on track to make partner at Goldman in 10 years. That's a trajectory. My trajectory is fine, I said evenly. Is it? Mom's voice took on that concerned tone that was really judgment. Because we worry, sweetheart. You're almost 30. You need security. You need to think about your future. My future included Forbes' list of the world's billionaires, keynote speeches at technology conferences, and a seat on the board of the National Science Foundation. But sure, I needed to think about security. Can we please talk about something else? I asked. Like what? Dad spread his hands. Your failed website business? The fact that you're wasting your potential? Ava, you were so smart in school. You could have done anything. Instead, you chose to chase some Silicon Valley fantasy. I didn't chase a fantasy. I built a company. A company, Uncle Robert said with a smirk. What kind of company? What do you even sell? Cloud infrastructure and data management solutions for enterprise clients. Silence. Then Dad laughed. What does that even mean? This is the problem. You can't even explain your job in normal terms. Michael's a junior analyst at Goldman Sachs. Simple. Clear. Real. My company provides scalable cloud computing infrastructure that allows enterprises to store, process, and analyze massive datasets efficiently. We serve over 2,000 clients globally and process 340 petabytes of data daily. More silence. Petabytes. Olivia whispered to Michael. I don't know, he whispered back. It's a measurement of data storage, I said. 1 petabyte is 1,000,000 gigabytes. So you store people's files? Mom asked, trying to understand. Sort of. We provide the infrastructure that makes modern computing possible. Every time you stream a movie, shop online, use a banking app, there's cloud infrastructure behind it. That's what we build. But who pays you? Uncle Robert asked skeptically. Our clients. Companies like, I paused. Listing Amazon, Microsoft, and Netflix would sound like bragging. Large technology companies. Financial institutions. Government agencies. Dad waved his hand dismissively. If you were really successful, we'd have heard about it. The fact that you're keeping it vague tells me everything I need to know. I'm not keeping it vague. You're not listening. We're listening, Mom said. We just don't understand why you won't accept that this isn't working. Honey, there's no shame in admitting it. You tried. It didn't pan out. Now it's time to find something stable. Like what? I asked. I could talk to my contacts, Dad offered. Get you an entry-level position somewhere. You'd have to start at the bottom, but with hard work you could build a real career. Like Michael. Michael shifted uncomfortably. Dad, maybe Ava's happy with what she's doing. Happy doesn't pay the mortgage, Dad said firmly. Happy doesn't build wealth. Michael, you're going to learn this at Goldman. Success requires sacrifice and conformity. You can't just do whatever makes you happy. The waiter appeared with dessert menus. As he distributed them, there was a commotion near the restaurant entrance. A group of people in business suits had arrived. 15 of them, moving with purposeful coordination. Leading them was David Chin, CEO of Tech Venture Capital, our lead investor. Behind him were our CFO, our chief legal officer, 6 board members, and several partners from Goldman Sachs Technology Banking Division. They were walking directly toward our table. Ava. David's voice boomed across the restaurant. There you are. We've been calling. Your phone must be on silent. Every person at my family's table turned to stare. David, I stood up. I wasn't expecting you until tomorrow morning. The numbers came in from the roadshow. Ava, this IPO is going to be historic. He was practically vibrating with excitement. Demand is off the charts. We're above the range. Opening valuation, $32 billion. Dad's fork clattered onto his plate. That's incredible, I said, feeling genuine excitement despite the awkward setting. Incredible? It's unprecedented for a cloud infrastructure company. David finally seemed to notice my family staring at him. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting dinner. You must be Ava's family. We are, Mom said weakly. And you are. David Chin, Tech Venture Capital. We've been StreamVault's lead investor since Series A. I've had the privilege of watching Ava build one of the most successful technology companies of the decade. StreamVault. Uncle Robert repeated. StreamVault Technologies, confirmed Margaret Ross, our CFO, stepping forward. The company Ava founded 7 years ago. Tomorrow morning we're going public on NASDAQ. Based on tonight's pricing, it'll be the 3rd largest tech IPO this year. Michael had gone completely pale. I'm sorry, what? Dad's voice was barely audible. Your daughter's company is going public, David said as if this were obvious. We're here to go over final details before tomorrow's opening bell. Ava, do you have a few minutes? We should review the investor call script. Of course. I picked up my purse. Wait. Mom grabbed my arm. Ava, what is he talking about? Going public? It means StreamVault Technologies will be a publicly traded company as of tomorrow morning, I said simply. We're listing on NASDAQ at 9:30 a.m. Open 39% of the company. I watched them do the math. Watched the realization dawn. 39% of 32 billion, Margaret said helpfully, is approximately $12.5 billion. Though of course there are lockup periods and restrictions on when your daughter will be one of the youngest self-made female billionaires in the world. The silence at our table was absolute. That's not possible, Dad whispered. It's very possible, said James Martinez from Goldman Sachs, stepping forward. I'm the lead banker on this IPO. Goldman is incredibly proud to be working with StreamVault. Ava's company is revolutionizing cloud infrastructure. He paused, looking at Michael. You must be Ava's brother? Michael, right? Starting in our analyst program. Michael nodded mutely. Excellent. You're joining a great firm. And you'll have quite the family story to tell. Your sister's IPO is going to be the talk of the office tomorrow. But she makes websites, Uncle Robert said, his voice confused and desperate. She plays with computers. David laughed. Plays with computers? Ava's company processes more data in a single day than most companies handle in a year. We serve 21 of the Fortune 50. The Pentagon uses our infrastructure. When people talk about cloud computing, they're talking about technology that StreamVault pioneered. Tomorrow's going to be remarkable, Margaret added. We've already had calls from 3 major institutional investors wanting to increase their positions. The analyst community is calling StreamVault a generational company. He turned to me. Ava, the NASDAQ wants to confirm your attendance at the opening bell ceremony. You'll be ringing the bell personally. They're suggesting you bring family. Every eye at the table turned to me. I'll be there, I said. But I'll be bringing my team, not family. Mom made a small wounded sound. Shall we? David gestured toward the private dining room in the back. We have a lot to cover before tomorrow. I looked at my family one last time. Dad's face was gray. Mom was crying silently. Michael looked like he might be sick. Uncle Robert was frozen, his mouth hanging open. Enjoy your dinner, I said quietly. Michael, congratulations again on Goldman. It's a good position. You'll learn a lot there. I walked away before anyone could respond. In the private dining room, we spent 2 hours reviewing final details. Press strategy, investor communications, trading protocols. The celebration party tomorrow evening at the Four Seasons. Your family seems surprised, David said carefully during a break. They didn't know. Didn't know you were going public? Didn't know StreamVault existed. They thought I built websites as a hobby. Margaret shook her head in disbelief. How is that possible? You've been on the cover of TechCrunch. Forbes did a profile last year. You testified before the Senate Commerce Committee. They don't read tech publications. And I stopped trying to explain my work after the 100th time they told me to get a real job. Well, David said, raising his glass, tomorrow morning the entire world will know exactly what you've built. To StreamVault. And to Ava Chin, the most underestimated founder I've ever had the privilege to back. We all drank to that. At 9:29 a.m. the next morning, I stood on the NASDAQ platform in Times Square, surrounded by my executive team. Behind us, a massive screen showed StreamVault's logo and our opening ticker symbol. Below on the street, thousands of people had gathered. Cameras everywhere. Media from every major financial publication. And on one of the massive screens, they were showing the IPO's progress. StreamVault Technologies opens at 85, valuation $32 billion. 30 seconds, the NASDAQ official said. I looked down at the crowd and spotted them. That, Michael. They'd come after all, standing at the back, barely visible in their business clothes that suddenly looked shabby next to the Manhattan crowd. Dad had called 17 times last night. Mom had sent 40 texts. Michael had shown up at my apartment at 6 a.m. begging to talk. I'd ignored them all. 10 seconds, the official announced. The countdown began on the screen. I thought about every family dinner where they'd mocked my computer work. Every time Dad had told me to stop wasting my time. Every time Mom had explained to relatives that I played with websites, while praising Michael's conventional path. 3, 2, 1. I rang the bell. The crowd erupted. Confetti cannons fired. Our stock ticker began scrolling across every screen in Times Square. $85, $87, $91, $95. It's moving fast. Margaret shouted over the noise. Opening trade at $96. The cameras caught my reaction. Pure joy mixed with vindication. Within minutes, the image was everywhere. StreamVault CEO Ava Chen celebrates historic IPO. My phone exploded with notifications. But I ignored them all except one text from David. Final opening price. $103. Market cap. $38.5 billion. Your stake $15 billion. Congratulations, Ava. You did it. The celebration party that night was at the Four Seasons. 500 guests. Investors, clients, employees, industry leaders. Tim Cook sent a video message. The CEO of Amazon was there in person. 3 senators showed up. My family was not invited. Dad sent an email at midnight. Ava, please. We were wrong about everything. We see that now. Please let us apologize. Please let us be part of your life. We're so proud of you. Please. I read it once and archived it without responding. Mom's voicemail. Sweetheart, I watched you ring that bell today and I cried. I cried because I was proud and I cried because I've been such a terrible mother. I should have believed in you. I should have asked about your work. I should have seen what you were building. Please forgive us. Please come home. I saved it but felt nothing. Michael's text was simpler. I started at Goldman today. Everyone wanted to talk about my sister, the billionaire. I told them you built something I couldn't even comprehend. I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner. I hope someday you'll talk to me again. That one hurt a little. Michael had never been cruel, just oblivious. But he'd also never defended me. Never questioned the family narrative. Never bothered to ask what I actually did. 3 months later, StreamVault announced our first quarterly earnings as a public company. Revenue up 52%. Stock price climbed to $147. My net worth, $21 billion. Forbes ran a cover story. The billionaire her family didn't believe in. The article detailed everything. The family dinners, the mockery, the dismissal. Someone had leaked details. Probably a server at Marcello's who'd overheard everything. The story about families who underestimate their children. About the specific bias against women in tech. About the cost of refusing to see people for who they really are. Dad called again. I didn't answer. Mom sent a letter to my office. Security forwarded it to me. I put it in a drawer unopened. Michael tried one more time, showing up at StreamVault headquarters. Ava, please. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I looked at him through the glass wall of my office. Saw the desperation in his face. The regret. And I picked up my phone and told security to escort him out. Some doors close forever. Some betrayals are too complete to heal. They'd had 7 years to ask about my work. 7 years to show interest. 7 years to see me as something other than a failure playing with computers. They'd chosen not to. And now they'd have the rest of their lives to live with that choice. While I lived with mine, which included a $21 billion fortune, a company changing the world, and a family I'd left behind without looking back. Dad had been right about one thing. Success does require sacrifice. I just sacrificed them instead of myself.